All right, we're live. Welcome everybody to Hump Day Hangouts, episode 184. Hernan's dancing in the background. If you can't see him, man, everybody is excited. Today is the 16th of May, and we're gonna say hello real quick before we jump into questions like we do every week. So Hernan, you were dancing, so let's hear what you got to say. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm actually really excited, and I just want to publicly thank all of you guys that actually jump into the GMB Pro pre-launch, Local GMB Pro pre-launch. I really wanted to, extend a thank you for all of your support, your continuing support to making Semantic Mastery happen, because we had a lot of people jumping in and a lot of good stuff, good comments. I was talking to a couple of buyers this morning, and they were already getting great results. So yeah, I just wanted to thank you guys for that and tell you that I'm really excited to be here. So.
Outstanding. I'm having a little issue using my mouse today, but yeah, well, not only thank you, but also good on them. By all means, we reward the action takers, with super low price, and they're also going to get first crack at some stuff that's coming up, which is pretty cool. But I won't spoil that for now. Marco, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm also very thankful for everyone who just got in, who listened to us, who heard what we had to say, and then just said, okay, I'm ready for it. We got some awesome stuff coming down the pipeline that will make this even better. That's our thought, to just keep making it better and better results, more refined, and just tons of leads for whomever, whether it's lead gen, whether it's client, whatever it is, your own brick and mortar, right? The online presence for your brick and mortar, whatever it is. I mean, that's our plan.
Definitely. And before we get into it too, Bradley, how are you doing?
Happy to be here, man. Neck deep in content generation again, as usual. I just added several more pieces of content to the GMB Pro course area, guys. So those of you that just recently purchased, go double check. You'll see there's a new module there with the process docs and templates. And I just started adding some content there today. I'll be adding some more content tomorrow, and perhaps Friday as well, and then again starting next week. So we're going to be pumping it full of content between now and the actual public launch date. So don't be dismayed. Remember, you guys got in on pre-launch. So the training that's there, go through it. And we're going to continue to add training up until, well, even beyond the launch date. But this time next week, you'll see a hell of a lot more than there is now. So
yeah.
Okay.
If you missed out or you didn't pay attention after, the webinar emails, like that's okay. We get it. Everyone's busy. And if you decided this wasn't for you, but we will have some more information coming out a week from today about how you can still get into Local GMB Pro, and if it's the right step for you, right? Because just like everything, it may not be for you, but for most of the people who are subscribers who are dealing with this is kind of a no-brainer. But yeah. We'll leave it there for now. I just want to say too, if you're new to Semantic Mastery, and you're listening, and we appreciate you showing up for Hump Day Hangouts. By all means, please come in, ask your questions. We're happy to answer. Sometimes if it's something that we see a lot, we'll refer you to our support our website, where there's a lot of frequently asked questions, and that's not a bad thing. We just want to save time, and so we might point you there. Also, I want to remind everybody, if you're asking like 10 questions, we might only answer one of those because we want to give everybody the chance. So I think that's going to happen maybe today. There's a couple people who've got some long questions. So we do what we can. But we also want to make sure that we're able to answer questions from many people. And then if you're looking for the place to start, please check out the battle plan. All right, we just came out with V2 of the battle plan. It's kick ass. I'm just going to leave it at that. If you can skip like 2 cups of coffee, you can pick up the battle plan. All right, and so it's good for you to have a blueprint for processes for SEO across a wide range of either angles, techniques, methods, like that. So I'm going to shut up now and turn it over. If you guys have any last minute, do we have any other announcements that we need to cover?
Yeah, just the stuff that's coming out of our development. Yeah, or we're also co-development because we're teaming up with people who are really good developers. And so we have GMB auto posting service that's coming up. We're working out the user interface, the payment gateway. That should be ready by next Wednesday. We also have the YouTube views, real people watching your YouTube videos. How cool is that? We'll have a user interface by Friday, but we have it ready now. It just needs to be tested. So beta probably next week. We'll be looking for people in our mastermind, as we always do, to come in and test it. and make sure that everything's working the way it should. Same thing with the Google My Business auto posting service. And so we got really cool things coming down the line. And that's why I'm so excited about everything that's going on. It's just so many things that it'll make everyone's life easier, especially mine.
Yep. So can we get any questions? Are we ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Okay, cool. Not a whole lot of questions so far. So guys, get to posting. We can always wrap up early if we need to. So Bob McAllister's up first. He says, have you found any bots to use on Facebook? Bob, I'm not the Facebook guy. So I can't answer that. Maybe Hernan could say something about it. Are you using any bot stuff? It's not anything I've messed with at all.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yes, actually we are, for Semantic Mastery, we are. Bots are great when it comes to communicating with your audience, but here's my personal take on bots. You know, I slice it and dice it, you know, one way, the other, and we are actively doing some bot stuff on Semantic Mastery, you know, to collect leads, to gather stuff and whatnot, to gather people, to get them interested in our stuff. But here's the thing with bots is that they are based on a third-party platform, which is, on this case, Facebook Messenger, you know? So the problem with that is that I see a lot of people developing funnels on Facebook Messenger or relying heavily on bots. And, you know, we know with all of the Cambridge Analytica side of things is that I think it was for a whole month, Facebook halted the entire development of bots. So all of those companies that they were heavily relying on bots when it comes to, you know, getting clicks, getting traffic, et cetera, they were having a really rough time. So I really use bots in terms of they have a really high click-through rate. They have a really high open rate. Again, people are on Facebook. They have Messenger installed on their mobile phones. So you will get that. But you need to use that as an all-encompassing strategy inside of the rest of your funnel. So I would say, number one, build your list. Number two, build your pixels. Number three, build your bot list, if that makes sense. So that's my intake on it. I know that people are going crazy. You can do some really advanced automation within the bots, but do not forget that unless they're on your own list, those leads, that people that can interact with you, they do not belong to you. They belong to Facebook, right? Everything that's on a third party, your YouTube channel, it's not yours, it's YouTube's. You need to be really clear on that. As long as you have that clear and that's helping you driving more traffic, more leads, et cetera, yeah, go for it. So.
Cool, thank you.
No
So the next question I was reading while you were answering that, Hernan, and this one says, maybe Marco can shed some light on this. I have not even been aware of this. He says, Mauricio says, I have been hit like a train by the 4/8 March Google update, but Google was very vague about this particular update. Have you guys deciphered what to do to recover the rankings for those of us who have been affected by this broad core algorithm update? Google Dixit. Okay, so maybe that's the name of the update is Dixit. I'll have to take a look at that. Many of us are trying to everything to recover our traffic, but we're shooting in the dark. We don't know if this was really about link building or anchor text over optimization, about content or about relevancy or any other matter. Well, I just did client reports earlier this week. Well, started last Friday, and I hadn't noticed any drop in anything. In fact, I had a couple of my sites, my client sites, that actually took quite a significant boost. But that could also be in part because I've started applying the local GMB Pro method to several of my clients too, and that very well could be why I saw such a ranking boost. I don't know if it had anything to do with the update that you're referring to or not. That said, because I have not seen any drops in any of the clients or sites that I manage, I was even completely unaware of it. So that goes to show you guys how plugged in I am, or not, to the traditional SEO crowd anymore. And that's just because, again, the stuff that I'm not saying that we're, update proof. We're not Google slap proof. I'm not saying that at all. All I'm saying is a lot of the stuff that we do isn't reliant on a lot of the things that typically will get SEOs into trouble. And we've been very fortunate in that respect that a lot of the methods that we use and perfect and really zero in on or try to scale with particular methods that seem to be almost penalty proof. Now, again, I'm saying that tongue in cheek because God, none of us know, but I haven't seen anything like that. So perhaps Marco, have you heard anything about this? I know you're more in tune with the pulse of the SEO crowd than I am.
I have heard people, they've been commenting all over, and of course, the SEO crowd always panics, and they go looking for a quick fix. And a lot of times, when there's an algorithm change, when there's a major change, it's all about the Google dance, right? Cool. And it's all about waiting it out. I always tell people, you got to be patient. When this stuff happens, if you run and you try to apply changes and you try to recover too quickly, Google's going to know immediately that there's an SEO operating behind that. And then what's going to happen is it extends the period when your website is going to dance. While that website is dancing, you can't do anything. And that it goes from 21 days to 70 days. If you do anything between when you extend the period from 21 days to 70 days, what will happen is you could be sandboxed permanently and there's no way to recover your rankings. A lot of people won't tell you that for free. I'm giving it to you. It's in my blog post, right? The Google dance. How long did I write that? How long ago? 2015, December.
Yeah, it was quite a while ago. I remember you going through the patent, actually.
Absolutely, and I warned people, man. Google's gonna catch you, and apparently, of course, I am not a guru. I am not a ninja. I'm not an expert. I don't even consider myself an SEO. I'm just a guy who knows how to rank shit, and I'm really good at predicting where Google is going. And so, because I spend so much time on the patents. And so, my first advice to you is relax. I mean, there's no way that you can recover your rankings right away. You have to give the dust time to clear. Once it clears, then you can start taking, you can try to remedy the situation by applying all of your knowledge and expertise in the matter. But right now, there's absolutely, if you've lost rankings that hard, just let it go. Let it go until you've cleared that time period, or Google is watching and trying to catch you at whatever it is that you do. Once that's gone, then you can go ahead. But again, I'm like Bradley, man. I've moved away from most of the stuff that can hit me unless I'm just testing. And the stuff that I'm testing right now is all inside Google My Business listing and G sites and drive stacks, and you know what I do.
Yeah.
So, and that's our protective shield. Google is like our SEO shield, our protective shield, what guards us against Google, believe it or not. It's our RYS Reloaded Academy, and why it works so well, because everything gets filtered through that. So I don't know. I haven't seen it. My clients would have been calling me all of last month if they had seen anything, and no, I haven't heard anything, haven't seen anything. I even checked. I just went and checked a website that usually or often gets affected by algorithmic changes, and I don't see it. So I'm sorry, I can't help you. I'm not seeing
it. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I didn't see this either, and it's like I said, there's a few of my clients actually recently took a significant bump in rankings across many different keywords too. But that just so happens, it's probably not coincidental either that those are the same clients that I've started applying the Local GMB Pro method to. So it's very likely that had an effect on it, as opposed to this actual update that you're talking about. So yeah, I just scanned through one of those articles. I agree with Marco 100% that the first thing you need to do if you were affected by it is to be patient, because if you get in and start screwing around with stuff, remember guys, a lot of the times when Google makes a significant update to the algorithm, there is like a period where it's more intense initially, right? And then they end up figuring out all the different things that got upset and the anomalies that occurred that were unintended consequences from their algorithm update. And then they start to roll things back and fine tune that update to, relieve some of the unintended consequences, right? To kind of alleviate some of the problems for site owners and things. Because remember, they get a shit ton of complaints come rolling in too from people that were supposedly playing by the book, but still got affected by an algorithm update. And so again, I over the course of my career, I've seen this countless times now, where a significant update occurs and a bunch of shit happens, a bunch of people's sites tank. And over the course of a few weeks, 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks sometimes, you'll start to see a lot of the algorithm, like the collateral damage starts to resurface, right? It starts to come back up and start to rise back up in the SERPs, results, because Google starts to fine tune that algorithm update to, alleviate or redeem some of those lost rankings that really didn't deserve it. And I've seen that again and again and again. So I agree with Marco. Be careful, be patient. Try to figure out over the course of the next few days or couple weeks. And apparently it sounds like it's happened for, it's been a period of time already. And, if you're somebody that's following a lot of traditional SEO practices, then there are others that will figure a lot of that stuff out. One of the best blogs I found for this kind of stuff, guys, is the Cognitive SEO blog. If you guys aren't familiar with that, I highly recommend you go check it out. I always say his name wrong. It's either Ravzan or Razvan at Cognitive SEO. And let's just go take a look at his blog real quick.
Yeah, and for anyone else wondering, just do a search in Google for the Google Dance Explained and look for the Semantic Mastery blog, and you should be able to pull it up. We should be near the top for the Google Dance Explained.
Yeah.
And so it's still there.
I would take a look at this blog, guys. I'm not saying I don't know if he specifically posted about, or if they posted about that update. I would check into this blog. It's a great blog. Also, they've got some really good tools. I know a lot of people use link research tools, but I always liked Cognitive SEO better as far as if you're trying to do penalty recovery work. I don't do that kind of work anymore. It's too much of a pain in the ass. So, and again, I don't really worry about that stuff so much anymore. I mean, occasionally I still do catch a slap of some sort, but it's very, very rare anymore. So anyways, so I couldn't give you more information on that, Mauricio. It's not something I've experienced any negative effect from. If I had, I would have more data for you, or more information. I mean, Don, he was a winner earlier this week. He was one of the people that we said we'd send a t-shirt to or something, correct?
Yeah, I think it was a t-shirt or half off.
A hat or something, yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
What's up, Don? He says, purchasing Local GMB Pro was an obvious no-brainer. While I am going through the training, I want to test the method to revive some old lead gen contractor properties that I just let die. Well, this is a great opportunity to do that, because I've got a couple of lead gen properties that I never fully completed either, that were verified GMB profiles that I'm going to be applying this to, because again, it's not going to require all the traditional SEO stuff, right, for me to be able to start generating leads. So once my VA that I just trained, she just started full time this week on doing the posts. I'm gonna start adding additional clients to her, or lead gen properties for her to do this for me as well. And I'm going to be including some of those lead gen properties. So you and I, Don, probably be in the same boat as trying to revive lead gen properties with just the GMB Pro method. It should work. It should work great. So I'm anxious to see what happens. He says, I have a lead gen brand with 2 locations that have been verified at the UPS stores back when that was a thing. Yeah, right. Both locations have tons of citation built, and I checked GMB Insights, and they both are showing up in map search occasionally. Considering you guys still verify PO boxes, is there any foreseeable reason not to use an old verified UPS store address? I would try it, Don. I wouldn't spend a whole lot of time on it, but what I would do, remember, if you're using a post scheduling app, which I recommend Sendable right now. However, as we just mentioned, or as Marco just mentioned, we're going to have our own posting app available very soon, maybe even by launch time next week. Is that correct?
That's correct. We won't have the RSS feature going in, but we can definitely pull an RSS going out.
Okay.
It's gonna be awesome. I'm really looking forward to testing this out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And guys, the stuff that we're developing into that RGMB posting app, which will allow scheduling and all that kind of stuff, we're developing things into it that integrate specifically with our other products, right? So, for example, syndication networks and stuff like that. So there's a reason why we're developing it. It's not just, because Sendable's good on its own. And I know there's probably some other ones out there. I'm just using Sendable right now while ours is being developed. So just to let you know, what I would do is go ahead and schedule a bunch of posts, Don, like often, keep your frequency of publishing really high for a UPS store verified GMB profile, because I noticed that typically those do get like basically ignored by maps, because I had a few of them in the past too, but when they kind of caught on to that stuff, which I can't imagine why PO boxes still work so well, because they do. I don't know why, but UPS stores typically for me, all of those tanked. But if you have one and you want to test to see if you can revive it, I would just schedule a whole bunch of posts. And since you bought the course, I just uploaded training today, process docs, for how you can scrape a whole bunch of images really quickly, auto crop and resize them so that they will be accepted by GMB posts. They'll be the right dimensions, the right sizes. You can rename them keywords. You strip the EXIF data when you scrape the image, and then you add EXIF data using GeoSetter, which is a free software. So all that training has been added to the course today. You can go in and check it out. And that's something that you can do to scrape a bunch of bulk images and schedule a whole lot of posts and see what you can do to revive that. And by the way, let me know how that goes. I'm curious as to, I'm going to be doing it too, but I've got so much other work on my, I don't know how soon I'm going to get to it. So let me know how it goes, John.
You know what, Brandon, since Google kind of recycles and they let you get away with stuff that you used to, for a while they won't, and then for a while they will. I went in ahead and verified a UPS box.
Uh-huh.
I got one, a UPS store box, and I'm using it, and I don't care. It's for ID theft.
Really?
Yeah.
Like you just did that recently and it accepted it?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so, Don, follow the training as far as how you optimize to make it look as legit as possible. And guys, I'm going to go ahead and give this. That's one of the keys. You have to be transparent with Google. If you try to obfuscate and try to get away with a whole bunch of garbage in that it's the Google ecosystem, then it's likely that Google will not pay attention to it because they'll know it's garbage. But if you're really transparent and if you're really careful with that entity and showing Google that this is a real entity about a real thing on the web, it's from there. It's like, okay, now all I have to do is follow the plan. We always set a plan for you, right? A way on how you build up on how you set up your foundation. And so that's all I can give for free. But catch us in a future webinar, and we'll be adding a whole bunch more training. As I said, I'm going to do update webinars for this because it's going to need it. So there's a lot of things coming, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this works because that's kind of national, the ID theft. I'm looking forward to him letting us know about local.
Yeah. And so last part of that, Dawn, is Marco mentioned, one of the things you can do besides just what I mentioned with the posting with a high frequency of publishing to that listing to try to revive it is to show Google that it's a real business. Besides that, it's verified GMB. There's some other things you can do very simply, like for example, buy a G Suite account for that brand. So that's $5 a month, basically. If you can have anything that you can do to add a billing to Google where you're paying Google even a small amount, you could do a G Suite account, $5 a month, or you could set up an AdWords account for that company, that business, right? Under which should be obviously owned by a separate Google profile or persona, right? And so you could set up an AdWords account and run some YouTube ads with $1 a day budget or something like that, or 50 cents a day budget or something like that to run some YouTube ads with links that point back to, your Google Maps listing or GMB post URL, for example. And anything that you can do to add some, verification and a billing, you could buy Google Drive, like upgraded storage, right? For Google Drive for that account. And that's only, I don't know, a few bucks per month or something like that. Anything you can do like that would help, right? Sending traffic to the post, that's different. That's something else that could also help. So there's a lot of things that you can do there, but just again, we're going to be covering a lot more of this stuff in the training. So just keep in mind that we'll be talking about more of that as I add more and more training to the course. Okay, Dan's up. He says, I wanted to know what link package from SerpSpace you would recommend to power up a syndication network tier 1 ring for a money site, as well as what package to power up a recent RYS Stack and site recently purchased. They are both for local dry cleaner. Well, typically, Dan, what I do, I'll be honest, is I always just start off with the smallest package, but I end up getting the tier 2 links and the GSA blast and all that behind it. But usually especially with a newer network or Drive Stack, either one. Drive Stack's a little bit different. You can go more aggressive. Marco can attest to that. But with the syndication networks, I tend to go with just the first, like the lowest level of link building packages. I don't buy them directly from SerpSpace because I have a direct connection to our link builder, and so I just submit my orders to him, and he has a custom package for me that I submit every time I have a new, syndication network or client or whatever. I do it for press releases and everything now. And so I just send him something, say, hey, look, I need this link building package. And basically what it is like the lowest level tier 1 link building package, but it's got a whole bunch of tier 2 and tier 3 links slammed behind it. And so I know Hernan's method has worked really well for us for the last couple of years for trying to treat your tier 1 properties, nicely with link building. You don't want to throw kitchen sink spam at them. And so, Hernan had a formula that was working really well. And I don't know if it was Hernan's formula or Dedia, our link building manager's formula, and he just knew it. Hernan, if you're still on and you can clarify, but we said something like, like 75 to 125 tier 1 links, like high quality contextual links per Web 2.0 property or something. Is that right?
Yeah, something like that. It was like between 75 to 100 to 120. You want to keep it like nice and easy and really high filter Web 2.0 properties. That was the whole deal. And then you can, you could do something like a couple thousand on the second tier, and then another couple thousand on the third tier. So that's what we gave Dedia actually to develop, and he came up with something really good. Yeah. So those were the instructions.
Dedia has guys hundreds of thousands of Web 2.0s that are aged and categorized, and so you get a lot of relevance. You get a relevance push also when you do it that way, because he does the tiered link building. But everything that he does is going to provide relevance along with that link juice and everything else that's added. Dan, if you contact SerpSpace, if you contact Theo, I think is always on live chat, and so if you go there, he'll take care of whatever it is that you need, and just let them know this is the tier 1 properties, and these are the Drive Stack properties, and Dedia will know exactly what to do.
Yeah, you can, and I logged into SerpSpace, guys, to show you, because this is pretty much the package that I use. What I'm showing you on the page right now. I'll zoom in a little bit, but it's going to cost you $200, but this is pretty much the only one that I use, guys, for my stuff, and I only do it once, when I need it, really. So I do it one time up front whenever I get like a syndication network for a new client or a new site that I throw up, I launch or whatever. But this is the one that I do. I just use the lowest amount of contextual Web 2s as tier 1. Then I do the lowest amount of contextual Web 2s as the tier 2. And then I do the 50,000, which is the lowest amount of tier 3, which is GSA spam. And so, like I said, it's I know it's $220, but it's all that I do. And then I usually only have to do that once, maybe twice per year. Occasionally maybe once every quarter for stuff that's a little bit more competitive, or if I notice something starts to slip a little bit in rankings. But typically, remember, guys, it's just to really boost that tier 1 network up, so that whenever as long as you're content marketing, blogging, right? You're blogging and you're using that syndication network consistently, every time you post, and it gets pushed out to those tier 1 properties, they're going to basically benefit from all that link juice that's running in from these thousands of links that are pointed at, funneling down to those. So remember, it's about, with pagination, for example, like on your 3 blog sites, you've got Blogger, Tumblr, WordPress, and you may have more, but those are the 3 primary blogging sites within the tier 1 network. Those have a blog roll on the home page, and depending on your settings, typically they'll paginate. Posts will paginate, right? Push off page 1 and go to an archive page with 10 posts or so. Again, you can usually change that in settings. But let's say that you've got all this link juice running home to your home page, the profile, the homepage URL of that blog. Then whenever you post to your main money site and it syndicates out, you're going to have all that link juice that's funneling at that home page coming through that internal link from that post, pointing back to your site. Now, eventually, when it pushes off page 1, yeah, you lose that, but you should have 10 other posts, right, that are pushing to other parts of your site. And so what like I said, that's why it's not something, guys, that I do a whole lot of, like the link building to my network properties. It's something that I usually do immediately, right? Well, not immediately, but soon after I start syndicating regularly to my network. And then again, I'll probably boost it maybe once per year. So it ends up, I end up after the initial link building package, I usually end up doing it about one more time every year, unless I have something that's particularly competitive and I need some additional results. But combined with all the other stuff that we do, like the RYS drive stacks, the local PR Pro method now, which, using press releases essentially, and obviously now GMB Pro, I haven't really needed to do a lot of additional link building past that first batch of links that I buy once I launch the new site, the new brand. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Okay. I built the site over 4 months ago. I was wondering why no rankings were showing up whatsoever yet. And you might get a kick out of this, but I had the reading settings set to discourage search engines from crawling. Oh, wow. Can you believe it? I had done a fair amount of curated blog posts, so I was dumbfounded with lack of ranking. Sometimes we need to pull our heads out of our behinds. Yeah, that happens. I've had that happen before. But if you have Search Console, then if you added Search Console to the site, a lot of times you'll get severe indexing issues like notification or warning from Search Console from that happening. Also, if you ever go into the site, like if you have SEO plugins, a lot of the SEO plugins will give you a warning, like Yoast does. I know Ultimate SEO does. They'll put a warning banner across the top of the site on the admin area that says, severe SEO problems detected or whatever. So, but yeah, that sucks, Dan. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about that, but it should also be part of his process docs that he turns over to his VA, so that the VA is always behind him checking
quality control.
Yeah, it has to be. But sometimes you just forget.
Yeah, I mean, we're all human. We all make mistakes. So Josh was up. He says, hi there. Next is getting the RYS Google Drive plus Google Site plus Twitter SEO profile in my battle plan. Awesome. I'm currently learning the system, setting up my syndication network for my blog and YouTube channel. Okay. When uploading the data to SerpSpace, I have questions. Do you set up one for your 3-pack of keywords or just one keyword? I'm not sure what that means. You set up one for your 3-pack of keywords or just one keyword? I'm not sure what you mean, Joshua. If you have a specific question that, like, what would be helpful is to contact support at SerpSpace.com and, provide this along with maybe a screenshot showing like which section of the order form that you have the question about. Cause like, I honestly don't know what you're talking about right here. And forgive me, it's probably because I don't actually order through SerpSpace. Again, I have direct connection to our builder team. So I just place orders via a CSV or a spreadsheet. So you guys know what he's talking about here? Anybody?
It could be that we're asking, no, but it says explicitly, I believe, that you need 50 or more keywords. Yeah. Is it the category that he's asking? That there's so many things that I'm not really sure.
I'd have to go through the actual order process with files and stuff. So on the file, you can upload what images and articles work best. Any examples of what one of these pages look like? For uploading, again, I'm assuming you're talking about buying. Well, maybe not. Is he talking about RYS drive stacks or syndication networks?
Not sure.
I can only take guesses as to what you're asking here, man. So I apologize. If you can, like I said, just contact support at SerpSpace.com and they'll get you sorted. Just be a little bit more specific as to what it is. I think you're talking about this now, not syndication networks. But again, I don't know. Just contact support. They'll figure it out for you.
Yeah, if you need to use a tool like screenshots really help, like if something, or submitting, letting them know if maybe something is messed up. Take a screenshot or, use something like Loom and send in a video if you think something's wrong. But yeah, otherwise just contact them directly and they'll be able to sort you out.
Yeah, or get Theo in chat. And if they need to talk to me, then they'll contact me for direction and I'll give them direction. That's how we're doing. You need to get with them to see if they can solve it rather than trying to solve it here because it's not clear. Maybe it's us, but we're just not understanding.
Yeah. Yeah, it's likely that I'm just not understanding the question. That's the problem. Josh, for your second the last two questions in your overall question, the keyword research well, hold on. Before I put my foot in my mouth, Marco, is our keyword research package, is that what he's referring to here, or is this just the add-on for keywords for the RYS stack?
Where are you? I'm trying to figure out where you are.
Right here, where he talks about, instead of going after national SEO terms, I thought whatever. He says, if I purchased the keyword research for $97, can they take that into account? Is that keyword research from our keyword?
Absolutely, absolutely. No, it's not keyword research girl.
It is her or no?
No, this is Jessen and
Jessen.
RYS. But Jessen does the keyword research like you've taught, right?
Okay.
Power Suggest Pro, Google AdWords, Answer the Public. But you know, the Power Suggest Pro, you're going to get hundreds of keywords and variations. Google Trends, you're going to get whatever's trending at that time. Google AdWords, you're going to get the average for the past 12 months. And then Uber Suggest. Uber Suggest is also going to give us, so you're going to get all of that relevance packaged in a nice, neat way. Now we're not offering keyword research girl yet. Yeah.
Okay. That's what that's what I started to say was what it was. I'm glad I did, because the last question, is there a silo structure package that we can buy? When we launch that service, which will be really in-depth keyword research, like based upon Jeffrey Smith's SEO bootcamp training. Like, and if you guys haven't been through that training, it is by far, hands down, the best, like the most comprehensive on-page, but keyword research training I've ever seen. And Marco trained a VA to go through that process, and it's an extensive process, but it comes back with silos, keyword stacks for silos, like all kinds of stuff. So that's something that's coming out eventually, hopefully sooner than later, because Marco's got her trained and ready to go. We just haven't set it up yet. So
it's actually a variation of Jeffrey Smith's training, along with Network Empire's last keyword tool, along with some other stuff. You get like, what did you get, Adam? Like 9 tabs worth of keyword research, plus the 1 tab where everything's put together nice and neat into silos and supporting and all that good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and going back and forth with you on that and making it even better. So yeah, I think it was, yeah, the supporting tabs, and then the tab broken down with the silos, and then you can go into like buyer intent stuff, and not you can, it was there. So yeah, it's pretty sweet as far as being like, here's the niche I'm interested in, then drilling down and not having to spend, you know, days on that. So
yeah, because if you try to implement the keyword research methods from Jeffrey's SEO bootcamp, like it takes hours and hours and hours to go through all that and like discover all those keywords and organize it all. And, you know, it really does. It's so much work. But once you're done, you're done. I mean, you literally have the blueprint for, as far as keyword theming of a site that is, you know, just massive. It can work really, really well. Like your on page will be so strong if you can optimize for the keywords that that she develops through that process. So Jenny says, hey, fellas, good to you all. Yeah, I haven't heard from you in a bit, man. Glad to have you here. Quick question about reviews. Bradley, how do you collect reviews for your lead gen companies, persona-based? It is hard to find out which leads hire my contractor without calling all of them. Can you share the process? Yeah, well, what I do is I have some of my contractors ask for reviews of and they'll just submit a business card that I have that just sends them to the actual Google Maps listing for that lead gen property, even though it's not, you know, remember guys, I brand most of my lead gen properties after the company that's servicing those leads now, right? So I might set it up with a generic brand to begin with, but then as soon as I have a service provider in place, which usually now I have a service provider before the site's even built, because again, it's, you know, I don't have to, typically I'm not going out and creating sites first and then backing into like finding a service provider anymore, because I've got people that call and ask, you know, to have lead gen sites built. So it's a little bit different. If you have something that's all like generic, Genia, then it, you know, obviously you'd have to explain to your contractors or to whoever's, you know, I can't assume that they're all contractors, but your lead gen buyers, right? That you could have them submit to their customers something, you know, ask their customers to go leave a review on the site that they found them from, right? And you could provide them with something for that, like a QR code or business cards with QR codes and a URL on it. You know, there's several things that you can do to help facilitate that. You know, that's one way to do it. But you can also spam reviews, guys. I mean, look, I'm going to tell you that, you know, I'm that's for you to decide, not for me to decide. I'm saying I'm not opposed to doing that. Be careful with it. You know, certainly be careful with it, but you can do that too. And there's some products out there that will allow you to spam reviews kind of in an automated fashion. But remember, those are always, you always run the risk of having an account terminated if you are spamming reviews. So just keep that in mind. So you got to be careful about that. Okay. So for me, like I said, I don't, and then I also, because the lead gen properties are all in my, you know, they're my properties. When we get web form submissions, so when somebody submits a contact request form from one of the landing pages, then those get copied to me. And so I will typically follow up with emails via, you know, contact customer emails that came through my lead gen properties. And I'll follow up when I find out from my contractors if the job was completed. If they bid on the job and they got it and they completed the job, then I'll find out whenever I get paid from my contractors. We usually have a brief discussion as to, you know, what leads were successful, which ones weren't, that kind of stuff. And I'll email them if it was through the web form, the initial contact, or because remember, a lot of this stuff is done via phone and we never even get their email address. But if I do have their email address, then I will send out an email, say, hey, thanks for your interest in whatever company name. We would really appreciate a review. And I'll send out an email, and probably maybe 2 or 3 out of 10 emails that I'll send out will end up getting a review. And I'll send the link directly to the Google Maps page or Yelp or Facebook from there, which, by the way, just as a quick aside, guys, from now on for new businesses, I am not even going to get a Yelp page. And I know that sucks because there's a lot of traffic in Yelp, but I am so over Yelp and the fact that they just nonstop harass like any client that I put into Yelp. Like they just nonstop call them over and over and over again, trying to sell them advertising. And because I'm listed on so many lead gen properties with phones, like, you know, my dispatch center, because I have everything that I control go through a call center. I use answerconnect.com. They're great. I've been using them for years. And my call center, like they literally get hammered all the time with Yelp calls. And it drives me up a wall because I pay for those calls all the time. And I'm talking about, guys, this is no joke, anywhere between 10 to 15 calls from Yelp representatives per week. Think about that. 3 to 5 calls per day. Like, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. I can't stand Yelp. And every single time I end up talking to them, because sometimes I'll see the same Yelp rep call like 6 times in 2 weeks. It's like 3 times a week, you know, and finally I'll call them back and tell them to stop effing spamming my dispatch center. We're not interested. You know what I mean? And it's always the same pitch from them. They always say the same thing. Well, we see that you've got multiple locations and I'm your new Yelp rep. They always say that. I'm your new Yelp rep. And I just want to go over how your listing's not getting as much exposure as it could. It's the same pitch every time. And every time I get mad and tell them, I'm not attacking you personally, but I hate your company and their methods, you know? So anyways, that was just a quick aside because I wanted to say, if you guys are doing lead gen stuff, highly recommend don't use Yelp. Even though you can get traffic from it, you'll get a shit ton of just spam calls, guys, from them. Okay, avoid it. And if you've got, do your clients a favor. Your new, like any new clients that you sign up, if they're not on Yelp, don't recommend it. You know what I mean? Because they will get hammered. They will literally get hammered with calls. Sam, what's up, buddy? He says, quick question. Can Google SERP results for non-local search terms vary by country? I'm traveling right now and notice some changes in my rankings. Yes, absolutely, Sam. It can vary by country, can vary by literally, you know, like neighborhoods, you know what I mean? Like, especially if you're on mobile, like it can vary just because you moved, you're 20 miles away. Like if you go, you know what I mean? So like, yeah, absolutely. The SERPs change based upon IP location. That happens often. That's why rank trackers just aren't working nearly as well as they used to, guys. They're not nearly as accurate as they used to be because searches are so much more localized now based upon the searcher's location.
Yeah, you can literally walk around the block and get like 4 different results on search. As long as you're not logged in. If you're logged in, then everything's going to be the same because Google is giving you results according to your preferences rather than your location. But if you sign out, if you go incognito in your mobile device and you start walking around, you'll see different results for the same search term.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I said like local search results are becoming so much more localized now based upon searcher location and also searcher preferences. That's kind of what we were talking about with the Local GMB Pro webinar the other day when I was talking about how I think this is working. Again, this is just my assumption as to how the GMB Pro method is working so well. Regardless of 3-pack rankings, whether you're ranking in a 3-pack or not, like again, rank trackers may not show that your business is ranking in the 3-pack, yet if you're applying the GMB Pro methods, you could be getting a ton of calls, and you can see right in Insights how much activity your maps listing is getting, even though the rank tracker might not show it. And so how does that happen? Like, how is that possible? Well, because from mobile devices, which is where the bulk majority of traffic comes from for maps now, from this method that we're talking about, people are getting like individualized results, search results. And it's crazy. Like, again, I don't have any proof of that, but there's really no other explanation that I can think of. And so that's my story. I'm sticking to it for now. So, okay, cool. We're almost done, guys. Let's see. Jeff Carley says, GMB Pro member, what is your favorite way to prove the system to new potential clients? What I would do, Jeff, is, pick a business. If you have your own, for example, you could use that to start with, or pick an existing client if you have one already, and you could apply this method to it. Even if you can't sell them on it, which you should be able to, tell them you'll do it for free for 90 days, right? And just say, look, I want to use you as an example, or don't even say use them as an example. Say, I want to show you how well this service works, and say you'll do it for 60 days, 45 days, whatever. Just say, look, I'm going to do this for you. Set it up and get some results for them, and use their insights from the GMB dashboard. Use their insights to be able to show that like the kind of results that you can achieve. So take some before screenshots, take some during screenshots, like, at week 2, week 4, week 6. And then by that time, you should have significant change in results that you can show, and you can use that as an example. Again, start with your own business first. Am I doing it for my own marketing agency? No, I'm not, because I got a ton of clients already that I'm doing it for. You know what I mean? So, but I'm just saying, Jeff, I don't know what your situation is. So start with either your own business or a client that you like, that you want to sell this to. This is a service to, and say, look, I'll do it for free for 6 weeks or something like that to show you results. And at the end of that 6 weeks, if you're happy with the results, we can talk about continuing it for a price, obviously. And that would give you the chance to test the method yourself, prove that it works to yourself, and then you'd have a portfolio, basically a case study that you could show to potential clients, prospects, right? What are your thoughts, guys? I know you probably have a different angle.
No, I mean, that's perfectly good. But I could also say that you could just take the angle of making it activity-based, like you have and like some other people have where we've gotten testimonial. But they'll go in and pitch it to the client as a service rather than trying to pitch the person on the results that they're going to get. You make it activity-based, where you do optimization and posts. As a byproduct, then what they'll see is that activity and those calls start coming in, and then you could concentrate on, okay, so after so much time, what we'll do is we'll go, if you want to go on a pay-per-call basis, or however you want to do it, if you want to switch it, or if you want to just keep it at, I don't know, $500 a month for Google My Business, optimization, and then maintenance and posting and videos and whatever, and then have them do all the work.
Yeah. Yep. Roxanne's up. She says, if I'm trying to rank a local site, will customers be searching keyword plus city or just keyword? And will the site be seen in the city because of location? Well, Roxanne, I mean, yes, people will search both ways. It really depends on, first of all, the individual, but second of all, like what type of device they're on. Most people on desktop or laptop are going to search keyword plus city or city plus keyword, right? Some sort of combination of a keyword plus a local modifier. But that's not always the case. But typically, that's what you're going to see is on desktop, laptop, people will search that way. But for mobile, they don't. Mobile happen typically with mobile, guys, people will start to search a keyword, and auto suggest will suggest a localized keyword based upon their location, and they'll tap through. They'll just tap the auto suggest query, search query, which a lot of the times will contain the keyword. So, and it's not always the case, but a lot of the times will contain the keyword. So I absolutely still optimize for keyword plus location modifier. Okay, that's how I optimize. And then the thing is with localized searches, again, even if somebody does just search the broader keyword without the location modifier, if your site is doing well for that keyword in that location and they're like literally physically located in that area, then yeah, you should pop up for it anyways. There is some differences there. You know, again, doesn't mean you're always going to pop up. You might rank for the keyword plus the local modifier and not rank for just the broader keyword, or maybe it's ranked a little bit lower or something like that. But typically you will be able to capitalize on any search within those parameters, right? That with somebody in that location with searching for that keyword. And it says, it seems that keyword plus city has really low search. Well, maybe. According to what, though? According to Google's keyword planner, that's not accurate anyways, guys. Those are just like kind of benchmarks, right? Those are kind of an indication of what you're looking at. But I know for a fact that there are keywords out there that I've got ranked that produce very, very well for me that the keyword planner says low search volume. But I know for a fact that I get, you know, much more traffic than what I should based upon what the keyword planner data says. So remember, don't just take those with a grain of salt. They're kind of an indication that you can use. But remember, Roxanne, the keyword planner is an AdWords tool. So it's showing what people are searching for and clicking on through the AdWords, not necessarily SEO. It's not an SEO keyword tool. It's an AdWords keyword tool, a PPC keyword tool. Okay, so the data is skewed for advertisers. It's not the same as for SEOs. Do you guys want to add to that at all?
Yeah, just that she can also optimize for close, for near me,
nearby, and all that. Yeah,
close by, close to me, all of those keywords, and that will add to your search volume.
Yep, absolutely. Paul says, "Hey guys, are you still seeing positive results with your syndication networks?" Yeah, Paul. I haven't. I mean, it's just standard operating procedure. It helps to validate the entity. There's a lot of benefits from having syndication networks. So I still see benefit from it, positive results from it. There's no question. Doesn't matter if you apply a syndication network to a new website. I mean, yeah, to me it does. I always apply it. It's just, again, standard operating procedure. So, I mean, I've got some sites out there, lead gen stuff, especially that I talked about a few times, the local PR Pro method that we launched a course about that last month. I specifically set up some sites that did not have syndication networks just to see if I could rank in maps without a syndication network using only press releases. And I was able to achieve that over and over again. But again, for anything that I like, those were testing properties. So anything that I know I'm going to run, like clients, I always suggest a syndication network, not just to sell them a syndication network, but because it helps to solidify their brand, right? It helps to protect their brand by securing those Web 2 properties with their brand name. It's a lot of stuff about branding now and about building authority for the brand. And so those are all things that absolutely I recommend to all clients. I do to all of my lead gen stuff when I'm not using them specifically for testing purposes. Syndication networks are just, again, standard operating procedure. Okay.
Do we have time for a little rant?
Please.
About this? I'll try to keep it civil.
We've only got a couple questions left, so yeah.
Yeah, no F-bombs. Look, man, Paul, there's a lot of, again, gurus and ninjas and experts saying that syndication networks don't work, that they have no value, whatever the freak it is that they're saying. And then they'll say, yeah, we tested. And then you find out that they went and tested a Fiverr gig. They didn't test a syndication network built the semantic mastery way. You cannot pay $5 for a syndication network that's built the semantic mastery way. Do you know how long it takes? How long it took to just train our builders to build a syndication network the semantic mastery way? How long it takes to research all of the different sites, how to bind them all together so they're all working together as one cohesive unit. Now, how the hell can you say? And then not only that, you do 3 or 4 posts, and it has a negligible effect. You know, oh, shit doesn't work. No, fuck you. You didn't do it right. I'm sorry.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah, that didn't last long.
But dude, it pisses me off because I can show you like a million ways how that testing was flawed, how the logic behind that type of testing is flawed from inception. Your thought process is fucked up. The result is going to be even more fucked up. Period. And so, guys, when you go look at this, go take a look at what we do and how we do it, and first compare, and then test. You know that it takes about 3 months to get out of the sandbox now. So you're not going to see results right away. What you're doing is you're building up your entity. You're building up trust, authority. You're building up art, activity, relevance, trust, and authority. Activity on the link, relevance through the link in both directions, from the website providing the link and the website receiving the link, and then trust and authority. How much trust and authority does that link carry? Once you put all that together, that's when this begins working. But it happens during a process over time. I hope that answers the question, because this is one of those that really sets me off. Oh, the shit doesn't work. These guys don't know what they're doing. Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah. Next question. We only got a couple minutes left, guys. I do have to wrap it up kind of on time today. Quit This House says, if you have an AdWords account, is it a good idea to run ads to videos from separate spam accounts? I was thinking of using Rocket Video Ranker with 30 videos, and I wanted to send real local views to the top videos in that account. That's a good question. You know, I've done it without having like any negative, like I haven't had any of my accounts terminated from doing that, but I would, I haven't done it like at scale. In other words, I haven't done it like a whole bunch of times, which is, I would be concerned with, I don't know that would be any problem at all. When you're paying Google, right? When you're giving Google money, I think they're a lot more lenient with like some spamish type of activity when it comes to that. So what I'm saying is, if you do an AdWords link request where you're linking YouTube accounts, other YouTube accounts to your one AdWords account, which is what I recommend. I would not recommend setting up a bunch of different AdWords accounts, but you're not acting as like the account owner. You're just, you're advertising to a channel that has been, you've authorized as a linking partner. So I don't think it's going to be an issue, but what I would do is maybe, you know, start off slowly. Like I wouldn't go take 10 different Rocket Video Ranker channels and do all link connection requests and all that stuff to where you link the accounts all together. I wouldn't do that. I would start off with one and run a couple of ads and let it run for a few days or a week or two and see, like, you know, maybe add a second account, maybe a third, and do it slowly, start to ramp it up. And they think it's scammy, but they won't like terminate the account. And then you can always get, what I found with AdWords is I usually don't mess around too much with the emails that they'll send when you have an account, you know, an ad suspended or a site suspended. And sometimes that'll happen where they'll suspend a destination URL altogether or a domain altogether. But typically I'll just get on the phone with them because I'm paying money, right? So there's no reason not to get on the phone. And a lot of the times, you know, it takes a little bit of time to talk to one of the representatives, but they're usually helpful, and they'll provide suggestions as to how to get the suspension lifted from either the ad itself or the domain or the landing page or whatever. And in this case, it would be from videos. So, you know, sometimes those conversations are, even though it's a bit of a pain in the ass, they're helpful because it gives you insight on what not to do the next time, right? So that you can avoid that the next time. So I would try it. Again, I don't think it's going to be an issue because if those other YouTube channels are actually owned, I'm using air quotes, by different Google profiles, then it shouldn't affect your AdWords account, other than perhaps they may suspend the ad if they don't like it, if they think it's spammy. But again, you're paying Google to send you, like, you're buying YouTube views from AdWords basically. So it's not something, I really haven't had any issues with videos unless the videos had destination URL, the ad itself, like switched, like linked out to a landing page that didn't meet, that wasn't in compliance, right? Have you sold an established GMB? No, I have not. I know you can. I mean, you can, it's just like selling a business, right? You could do that there, but I have not, Bob. Sorry. Don says, Yelp is the devil. I've had contractors almost fire me because of Yelp. I'll plus one that, because I'm telling you guys, yeah, I mean, they will literally hound your clients just like they hound me to death. And it's just absolutely unbearable. It's terrible. I can't stand Yelp. James says, how necessary does it power up my syndication network with link building packages? And if it's necessary, again, James, you may be able to not do it at all. I don't recommend that. But again, standard operating procedure is, once I have a network built and I've published a few posts to it or syndicated a few posts to it, then I'll send it out for link building. And I only do that maybe once. And then maybe once a year I'll do a boost. And again, if it's really competitive, if I need additional things, which right now I just really haven't, because next is an RYS drive stack, next are a set of press releases, and now I do press releases regularly for all my properties. So, and guys, remember, I do all local stuff. So like everything I have is trying to rank in maps really, and press releases help a lot with that. So but I'll also order link building packages to specific press releases. For example, we talk about Local PR Pro. If you can, a lot of the distribution services will give you the ability to provide or to create an organization page, which is like a company news or press page where all PRs that are assigned to that company or published for that company will show up on basically like a blog roll or a blog index page, but it's a PR index page for that specific company. Those are great pages, guys, to hammer with links, right? To buy link building packages for, because now every time you publish another PR with that same distribution service for that company, it's going to be listed almost like a blog would be on an index page or a home page of one of your blog sites in your tier 1 property, right? And so now you can just power that up just instantly by just publishing to that same PR distribution network, right? You automatically power that PR because it gets listed on that company page, which you've got a ton of links pointed at. So that's my point. Like, again, think about how you can get the most bang for your buck with link building packages, James. And I highly recommend doing it. You will get a lot better results from an initial syndication network or drive stack or anything for that matter if you can put some links behind it. Links still do help, guys. They're just not the be-all, end-all, in my opinion, anymore. And no other people may argue with me on that, but I know I can do quite well without a whole lot of links. I just don't need them. They are still useful, though. He says, well, and I got to wrap it up, guys. Will it benefit my site through the curated posts I've done over the past few months? No, because they're not going to be, if you're powering up your syndication network, just the profile URLs or like the homepage URLs, for example. So like if in your spreadsheet, if you just collected all the URLs, right, the specific URLs for each one of your Web 2 sites, and you submitted those, then no, your older posts will not benefit from that. The ones that have paginated, that have been pushed off page 1, which, and again, I'm primarily talking about your main 3 blog properties, right? WordPress, Tumblr, and Blogger. However, like the bookmarking sites and stuff will benefit still typically. But my point is, what you can do though is you could include the RSS feed URLs from some of those sites that have them into the link building package order, right? So that you're powering up your RSS feeds too. That's still older posts still won't show in that. But what you also could do is if you have sitemaps, you could also build links to the sitemaps, but the last thing you could do is actually extract your post URLs, the already published post URLs from the Web 2 sites and include those in the link building order, right? And lastly, you could also put a plugin on your site. We have the Semantic Mastery RSS plugin that will republish old posts. But you can if the premium version does that, you have to be in the mastermind to get that. But there's also a free version of a plugin that I've used. Republish old posts is what it's called. The WordPress plugin. And this is it right here, Infolific. Republish old posts. You can install this on your WordPress blog. And I think they have a premium version that's like $10, guys. It's like $9, no kidding. It's worth it. Okay, get the premium version if you've got a bunch of content on a blog that you want to resyndicate, because you can have content resyndicate. Like you can set very specific parameters as how you want older content to republish, which will trigger a new syndication. So again, my recommendation would be to go ahead and just power up your profile URLs and then republish old posts so that you get the benefit of them to the old posts without having to extract all the individual post URLs. That's a bit of a pain in the ass. Okay. Good question though. All right, Steve. Thanks, Don, for the meme. Last question, comment. Steve says, loving the Local GMB Pro course. When will we be adding more content to the membership? Well, I just added more today, Steve. The actual real launch date of it is next week. So we're going to be adding content between now and the day that it launches. And then even after it launches, we're going to add more content. So remember, you guys bought on pre-launch. So not all the content's there. I'm still adding content. Again, I added several process docs and templates today so that you can start to train a VA or even go through them yourself. But I would recommend that you hire a VA to start this process if you're going to be scaling. Okay. And I literally gave you guys the process docs that I created for my VAs. The only thing I did was omit the, drive folder URLs and the actual training videos, because I was using a real client in the training videos that I produced for that process doc. But you don't need it, because you can just go through the process doc. And what I would recommend you do is perhaps follow along through the process doc and record your own training videos for your VAs working on one of your own projects. So that you can, when you send the training, the process docs to the VA, put the video training, the video URLs at, it's always step number 1 in my process docs, put that in there. And that way, when you train a VA, the VA is being trained by you, by your voice, by your clients, by your methods, instead of me. Does that make sense? You can hand them the process doc, but make the training video yours. Okay. All right, cool. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks, everybody, for being here. We're a little bit over, but not a big deal. Thanks, guys, for hanging out.
Bye, everyone.
And let's see.
See ya.
Okay, thanks, guys. See you.